Today, I'm very happy to welcome our friend, Brazilian actress and now filmmaker, Brenda Ligia Miguel. Bom dia, Brenda. Tudo bem?
Oh, I didn't know you could speak Portuguese, Sherif. That's great.
Uh, we contacted you and thank you very much for publishing your interview in English on our website, meetingvenus.com, few days ago. And I was very happy to find a Brazilian actress who speaks English, and because most of the time I speak with a lot of artists in Brazil, and only we can speak Portuguese or some Spanish with a mix of some Spanish. So I'm very happy. It's very nice to introduce you and introduce your work to the Anglophone people and artists around the world. Right now, in the interview, you spoke about your work, about your previous work, about your family life, and later on, you shared with me a film, 10 minutes short film you directed yourself. It's called Contrast. And I want to ask you, because the film is very interesting. It speaks about, some ethnic problems, regarding casting black artists in Brazilian cinema. And really, I didn't know this was a problem, because I don't know. When I speak to a lot of Brazilian people, they say they are Brazilian generally, not like in America. They say we are African Americans, So tell me, are black people in Brazil, they come from African background generally, or they don't know?
Well, first, it's a pleasure being here with you. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here. As you mentioned, it's not very common that Brazilians speak English, right? Because the country is so big, so huge, and it's not really a popular thing like speaking English or other language. Like, for example, I speak French as well, but it's not very common to find artists or and people who speak foreign languages. And it's a pleasure being here talking to you, talking worldwide. First, thank you very much for this opportunity. Well, the thing about what happens in Brazil, Sherif, there is a, can you hear me? Okay, wait. What happens in our country is that there is a myth of racial democracy, right? Which doesn't exist at all. Because what happens is that because Africans were kidnapped to be brought to America, to South America, and to all Americans for slavery, we got mixed, right? For example, the Indians lived here before. White men killed all the Indians, right? There is like a very, very little community of people, of course, they come from Indians, right? Other generations, like we're talking about so many 100 years ago. But Brazil is a very complicated place because we mask this racial democracy, which never existed. Because if you consider our rate, it's something very serious, because every 23 minutes, one black person is killed, is murdered in this country. If our interview, let's say we are in 6 minutes, 20 minutes from now, there will be probably a black mother crying for her son, for her daughter, right? Oh, but white people also get killed. Of course, white people also get killed, but there are statistics, and statistics don't lie, right? What happens nowadays is that because of the pandemic and everybody has got a mobile phone, so everybody's filming everything and reporting everything and put it on the internet. What happens is that we get to receive the information, and before we didn't. So many people say, oh, but why now? Oh, there is carnival, and Brazilian people, they are so nice and so happy. I wonder, right? Who are these people who are so happy? Are they owners of companies? You know, because for example, and then there's a list of statistics which tells a lot about our country. For example, in politics, we, Black people, we are less than 4% in politics. How come if you have a country where over 53% is formed by Black people, how come we're not making laws? How come we're not in the government? You know, how come we're not fighting for our interests? In the highest levels of companies, and you know, and corporative positions, and in, you know, like in the position of power, Black people are not there. How come? And the media, and television, cinema, publicity, advertising, marketing is one of the most racist fields ever. If you turn on the TV here in Brazil, you will probably think that you are in Sweden, you know, because all you see is like white people, blonde. If you're blonde and have blue eyes and straight hair and you are thin, and then there's a long list of stereotyping, right? Because then we can talk about fat people, about people, handicapped people. There is a long list. But what we're discussing here is because if we, us, Black people, are 50, I don't know, 53%, 56%, whatever, but we are more than half of the Brazilian population. How come we are not in the position of power? And this is something that bothers me, and we cannot accept it, because what we are advocating now, what we are fighting for now, is we're fighting for the right of staying alive. And this is something very serious. It's something very cruel. And the media, cinema, TV, they have the power to change. If you consider, when, as you watched my short film Contrast, right, which talks about racism, you see that in the beginning, the first sentence is, in Brazil, I can't recall like the certain number of percent, that's a percentage of Black people in casting, right, in films. We need to work. Us, we black actresses, we have bills to pay. I have a son. I want my son to go to the best schools like everybody else. Like, we deserve it. And if the people in the position of power can't change that, what will happen? You know, we have to change this somehow.
Are you, I mean, alone? Of course, there are a lot of other actors and actresses who are Black, or, you know, from different ethnics. But are you alone in presenting your point of view, or do you have a lot of people who shares your same point of view right now?
Most people I know, they share the same point of view. Sometimes there is something which is wrong as well, is that people, they have the tendency to look at Black people and say, okay, she's Black, therefore she thinks like every other Black person in the world. No, we're not like this. We're Black, we share the same color of skin, but we might, yes, why not, like white people do, like people from wherever, all over the world. We are humans after all. We do have some people who share opposite point of view. Once I was shooting a commercial for TV, and then like it was like, because what happens, Sherif, is this: it's something perverse, because it's the fake representativeness, which means, okay, I'm script writer, and I work for a very famous advertising company which makes the best TV ads in Brazil. Great, and I am in the creation. So I'm going to think of an advertising, right, to show on prime time on TV. Every Brazilian people will love it, right? Black Brazilian kids will watch it, and they want to be that person. They want to have that product. So, you know, that's the bombshell. And then I'm going to write this. And then I have 10 people in cast. So I need white people and 2 black people. And then in this TV commercial specifically, I was one of these 2 black people. I was not in the main role. The main roles are always for the white people. And they say, oh, but there is, I watched it once and there was a black. Of course, there are. I'm not talking about the rule, right? I'm talking about what happens 90.9% of the time. And then this person wrote a TV ad. I was not in the main role. And then I saw one other black girl there, and she had like a huge hair. And I looked at her and I identified to her because I was like, and there, I'm talking about something political as well, right? Because we don't have government here in Brazil. Because this guy, this president we have now, it's extremely, well, probably, I don't know what you get from the news in Brazil, but it's a very, very serious problem what's happening in this government here right now, right? Because it's extreme right wing, and then they killed our policies, our affirmative actions. It's a disaster. Anyway, and then I saw this, just to tell you the story. I saw this black girl and I was like, oh, oh, I'm gonna go there and talk to her. And then I went there and say, hey, how are you? Starting to be nice and talking to her. I identified to her. And then to my surprise, like she was in church and then she started saying a whole lot of things I didn't agree with. And then she was, no, because I like this president, because it was an absurd what was happening. I saw gay people so young and they can't be gay. And I was like, what? She's a homophobic, and I'm not. I believe in people, and I believe in word. I believe in love. I want a better word for my kid, right? And so I was like, this was an experience to me because I was, okay, she's just black, but it's not because of the color of her skin that she thinks exactly like me, and she's my friend, and we don't share the same points of view. So like answering your question, like to be precise, I'm not alone. There is a huge movement of the Black March. And now in November, we see lots, because November is a month when we celebrate the Black consciousness. So there is a huge number of people fighting for this cause. We're not alone, but there are people, including Black people, who are against their own people. I can't understand it, but we have to accept, we have to respect, and we can't shut up anymore.
Yes, from what I see of the current news in Brazil, first of all, sometimes I see online some of the television programs, and I see that all of them, are entertainment, comedy, candid camera, and there are a lot on YouTube on Brazilian television. And I imagine right now there are a lot of television channels as well in Brazil streaming. But, and also a lot of telenovela. But do you think this content, I mean television, comic shows, educate, the people, help in educating the people in Brazil? Because Brazil is a
Well,
very
Sherif,
huge
the
country.
thing is,
Very huge.
oh, sorry, I cut you. I missed you.
No, I was saying Brazil is a very huge country. I want to know, because you are an artist and a creator yourself, this educate the people, you think this educate the large people, in this large country of Brazil, you know?
Well, I think it's part of a plan, right? A bigger plan for people not to be educated. Who is interested in a population who knows about their rights, who knows about, like what a possible word, an utopic word. I don't know if we say this word in English, but anyway, so it's not interesting. Of course, I believe in entertainment. Well, I work with entertainment. Of course, we must have films about everything. Like we can't have censor in certain aspects. I believe in art and in films and movies, But Brazil is like what you said, like we want candid camera, we want reality shows on TV, and they want soap operas, mainly, preferably with 93% of white people on it, because then nobody is upset, right? Like I said, Black people are not in the position of power to be shown on TV. Oh, just 2 or 3, it's okay, not more, because no, it's not for them. It's like what we say. And let's keep these people, like what they want is like they want us not to think. They want us to be quiet, to have fun, and before this pandemic, we have Carnival, so don't worry, Carnival is coming. Oh, everything is okay. Brazil is such a huge place full of beautiful beaches and beautiful women dancing the samba. That's not what happens. Definitely not. It's something that we have. I want to scream to the world what's happening here in this country, because it's very serious. It's very sad, Sherif. May I tell you a story, which is something, I don't know if you got it there.
Sure, sure.
Okay, what happened in Brazil, because of slavery, most Black women in Brazil, they inherited, right? Not in a positive way, but they inherited the profession of maids, right? Women who come and clean your house. Oh, okay, it's a noble work like any other. Yes, but when your kid is born, do you look at your kid and you say, oh, I hope this girl becomes an excellent maid and cleans lots of toilet bowls? Of course not. You want your kid to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be whatever she wants to be, a teacher, right? But it's a profession which is not well paid. You sometimes you're humiliated by, like the rich people and everything. Well, I was lucky to be born in a family who gave me conditions to study, to go to university, like to do my stuff, to follow my dream. But many Black women like me didn't have this fortune, didn't have this luck. So what happens in Brazil is that over 80% of women who do this job of maids, they are Black, right? Consider this. There is a place in the northeast of Brazil called Recife, the place where my son was born, by the way. And this place is a very colonialistic place, right? Because there was Dutch invasion. So, like, for example, my husband is white, the father of my son. Actually, it's his birthday today, by the way. So, and then my husband is like, you see the appearance of Dutch like the Dutch ancestors and everything. And what happened in this city, Recife, in the northeast of Brazil, where Carnival is very strong and people are happy and mixed. What happened? A maid went to work, even during the pandemic, because many people consider the job of a maid essential work. So it's not, oh no, if you die from COVID, I'm sorry, but you must clean my toilet bowl. So you have to come to work anyway, whatever. So this woman called Mirtes went to work in this very sophisticated building in Recife. She didn't have anybody to leave her kid, her 5-year-old son. She didn't have anybody to leave him with. So she had to take her son to work with her. Because in Brazil, over 5 million kids don't even have the names of their fathers in their birth certificate. It's a country, they criticize abortion, but male abortion is there, right? They don't want abortion when it's the woman's choice, but babies are born and fathers, they're drunk, they don't care, they have many kids, they don't even help with financially support, emotionally, whatever. And then this woman took her 5-year-old son to the lady's house to work. When she arrived there, the lady, the boss, was having her nails done. Meaning, so she had another professional during the pandemic in her house because she wanted to be pretty, with her nails pretty. But she had a dog, and so she said, oh, the light is, oh my God, did you see that? The light is blinking. And then she had a dog, and then she told this maid, Mirtes, Now you have to go and walk the dog because the dog wants to shit, and you have to walk the dog. And for some reason, the maid went downstairs in this sophisticated building, didn't take her son, and you won't believe what happened now, Sherif. The son started crying while his mom was downstairs walking the boss dog. The boss became very upset because, whoa, what is this black kid, the son of the maid, crying while I'm having my nails done? No, I can't accept this. You know what the boss did? She took the kid, put the kid, the 5-year-old kid, in the elevator, pressed level 9 of the building. The guy crying, and we saw the camera. We have images there. The guy started crying, went upstairs to the 9th floor, a very high building, right? The guy came out of the elevator. When he looked downstairs, he saw his mom, and he cried. He screamed, "Mommy!" When his mommy looked, he fell and he died. This guy's name was Miguel, and he was killed by the colonial system, by this very sad situation which happens in this country. And probably if he hadn't been killed, he would grow up and he would not become a doctor. He would not become a lawyer. He would not become a cinema critic, not an actor. No, he would become probably the driver of the same family. And if he was a woman, he would become the maid, the son of the maid who would serve the boss's maid. And as I'm talking to you right now, I see here, we are online 23 minutes. Another black person got killed in this country.
Yes, but the thing you said, you told me about the statistics, and about black guys or black young men dying every couple of minutes. These statistics tell what kind of crime they die for. Is it drug problem, violence? They have a pistol, or it is related to their color. What does this statistic say?
They die violently. There is another case of, and if I say, she's talking about isolated case. There is isolated, but it happens. Well, something that happens every 23 minutes is not isolated at all, right? The other black guy before this one, Miguel, 5-year-old, I'm telling you, was a 14 years old guy. He lived in the slums in Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro, they have the rates of civil war. It's a war because the number of people who die there is more than in the war, in people in combat, right? And we are used to it. And police is very violent. Police is trained. We pay the police salary, right, as citizens, but police is trained to kill, right, to go and to kill. And they, of course, it's not that they are trained to kill everywhere. No, in rich places, they go there respectful. Oh, sir, please, I would like to know what's the occurrence. That's what they do. But in poor people area, slums, suburbs, they go there, first they shoot you, and after they ask, oh, sorry, oh, I thought you were a suspect, I'm sorry. But these other isolated cases, which of course is not isolated, what happened is that like about 3 months ago, around so, this guy, no, a little bit more, but if you open the news, I can send you, there is a list of, I don't know how many names I have. Everybody knows that, Sherif. That's the thing. We are used to it. We are used to violence. For us, it's normal to turn on the TV on midday news and see that, it's normal. The police the other day was punching a woman's head because because she was trying to enter a place she was not supposed to. It's normal. But this other guy specifically, was that the police, his mom said, don't go out of the house because of the pandemic, stay in. What happened was that the police, in an action to look for drugs, as you mentioned, drugs, this is something that we have a very huge number of incarcerated mass here in Brazil. I think we only lose for United States, which is largest, but here it's a very serious problem as well. Because if we think, okay, there is marijuana, for example, right? I don't smoke, but let's put it like this. marijuana. If someone was caught with cigarette of marijuana, put him to jail and leave him there. Is it a system that is nobody going to talk about this really? Is is it really what it's supposed to, how we're supposed to solve this problem? It doesn't work. But then what happened was that the guy, 14 years old guy, João Pedro was his name, if I'm not wrong. And then his mom told him to stay home. At the same day, the police decided to have an action in the slums. And then the police invaded the slums. The guy with his cousins, a bunch of kids, they were home alone because the parents were working. They ran inside the house. And guess what? The police thought, oh, if they ran because they saw lots of police, you know, they're used to seeing when police in the slum, people are going to die. There will be blood and people will cry over the death body. So they ran. The police supposed, oh, if they ran, they must have something to blame. So let's go there. And then the police like shot the guy like, I don't know how many times. The guy died. So he was like a victim, a 14 years old, a kid who was a victim of this perverse system of violence, of crime, of politics. It's a plan, right, to clean up the society, to clean. They want to kill poor people here.
But this is not a solution. I don't think so. You know, it's supposed to do some stuff to help people, of course, and for the country to be better for everybody, you know, to everybody has equal rights. But I want to ask you about your work, Brenda. Since you speak English and tu parles français and tal vez habla español, did you try to expand your work to the United States, Canada, or French to use your knowledge? And because compared to Brazil, I see a lot of Latin actors from Venezuela or Colombia. They work outside of Latin America. What do you think?
Sherif, it's interesting that you ask that because it's something that never occurred to me. I don't know, because, for example, I do speak English, but I do have an accent, right? So probably in the United States or in other country, people would say, oh, okay, that's a foreigner speaking English. So maybe I would stick to those kind of, oh, okay, she's going to play the role of, I don't know, like the Latin who came, and, you know, something like this. We have an actress called Alice Braga, a very good actress, white lady from Brazil. She was in City of God and many series. There's a Netflix series and things. She lives in the United States, I guess, for some time now, and then she works a lot. But I guess that these people who are always in contact with the language, I guess that they develop a better level of English, which makes it possible for them to work, like, you know, to develop the characters better. This is something I never thought about. And in French, because, oui, j'ai parlé français, mais moi, je ne parle pas très bien. Alors, je pense qu'en français, ça serait un peu plus difficile d'arriver à faire quelque chose comme ça.
No, but you know, it's training, and of course, you know, there are a lot of dialogue coaching if you get a role. And speaking of Brazilian actors, I like very much Sonia Braga, you know. She did a lot of work in the States, and she worked with great actors. Like she worked in a Clint Eastwood film, you know, was Raul Julia, great actor as well. You know, The Rookie was Clint Eastwood and Charlie Sheen. I like this film, one of the very good action films. And she worked with Marcello Mastroianni, and even her first film, they did a remake, you know, for it, you know, in the United States, you know, with James Caan and Jeff Bridges, one of her early films. But I think you should expand your work as well. But I want to ask you, because I saw the film as well, you sent me the colors of all the colors of the night. It is unconventional Brazilian film. It's some kind of a psychological thriller. And I don't think in Brazil they make a lot of it right now. And also, I've seen some of your show reels. What I would like to ask you, do you think the role you presented was created for, like you say, like a black woman, or I mean, the black characters are well represented in Brazilian cinema, or these kind of roles could have gone to another actress, I mean, you think the writers had in mind to write the role for specific characteristics?
It's a very intelligent question, Sherif, because this is something that many times it crosses my mind. When I receive like a check for a casting, right? Like 95% of the time it comes black actress, right? So it comes to me like, okay, and then I look, and when I read this, it's like a woman gets into a store and discusses with the saleswoman. So I mean, why do we have to be black for that? Like it could be Japanese, it could be anyone, right? So we don't necessarily have to be black to do some certain things. And this is something that I repeat, this is something that I think that comes from this racist system of like, okay, it's like an invisible pact, right, among them, who is like this. Oh, everything is for us, white people, but then we pick one or two roles and then we give to them, right? And from the time it comes to them, which is us, and so they have to write black actress. This is normal for me. Many times in cinema, I receive roles like this. But in this one specifically, when you that you watch it, yes, All the Colors of the Night by Pedro Severian, a very talented, very young, very bright director, movie maker here from Brazil. He is ironically from Recife, this place which I mentioned, the colonialist place, one of them in our country. And he's very bright. Like when he was very young, I think he went to London to study cinema, and then he traveled all over the world. So his mind is not like the well, many people who watch that and say, "Whoa, this movie doesn't look Brazilian." I could never tell it's a Brazilian movie, right?
Now brasileiro, now brasileiro. Esse filme now.
Exactly. That's what they think. Because this guy, he's got an open mind to cinema, and he prints his identity in the stuff he makes. I don't know if it's interesting to you, but he speaks English very well as well. You would have a very good conversation someday if you would be willing to talk to him, because he's got lots of other short films. Now he's writing another feature film. He's a very good friend of mine, Pedro Severian. He's a very good guy. And I think in this role specifically, he didn't have in mind for a black girl. He had it written. He was looking for someone, and then we were in a Japanese restaurant there. I was with my husband, he was with his wife, and we were drinking sake and happy and eating sushi. And then suddenly his wife looked at him and like, "Hey, Brenda could be Fernanda, the role." And yes, like I thought they were kidding, but then they were not. And then there is a film. I like that movie very much. It was very important for me to have a role like that. It's a present for an actress, right?
Yes, I'm happy that there is a new generation of Brazilian cinema, because I've seen a lot of classic films, 70s, 80s, and Brazilian cinema was very active in festivals until now. Every now and then I see some good Brazilian film when I travel. And I want to tell you, when I speak to you right now, if I'm a producer, I would cast you in the role of the Egyptian queen Nefertiti.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. We love Nefertiti. What an honor to hear that. Thank you,
Yes,
Sherif.
you remind me a lot of her photos and her statue. So, of course, all the Egyptian, they come from southern, African places, and the Nubian and Queen Nefertiti in historical book, has had a dark skin, Although in Italian cinema, especially in the 60s, they used to do a lot of films, you know, with they call it swords and sandals, you know, these
Uh,
films. These were films with a lot of gladiators, you know, mythic films, Hercules, you know, and I remember they cast Queen Nefertiti was a very blonde actress with blue eyes, like a German actress, which was very funny, you know. You
we
know,
have to laugh. Actually, we must laugh at this kind of story.
yeah, but I will be very happy to share the links of your films down below the interview on YouTube because I like people very much to see those films from one side, to see your directorial efforts, and from another side to see, you know, like what I hope to call like a new wave of Brazilian cinema, you know. And I want to thank you very much for this interview. And I don't want to forget to say feliz cumpleaños para su filho,
Thank my husband, for your husband.
your husband and your husband. Happy birthdays. And I wish you all the best in your upcoming projects. And I hope to hear from you good news about your family and about Brazil. And I hope the problem of the COVID pass very fast for Brazil and for the whole world, because it was a very challenging year this year, you know. Huh?
Yeah.
And I hope next time we speak, you know, you have a lot of new projects we can speak about.